Thanking our guests and speakers. First and foremost, I know you recognize him, former New York City Mayor David Norman Dinkins. And if you know there's a Bronx event, he will not miss it. We're so proud and honored to have Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. I'll tell you the story about how this got named in a second, but also with us, very determined, passionate, and committed City Council member Fernando Cabrera. And right now we're in the shadows of a great institution here in his borough, and representing that borough, President of Bronx Community College, Dr. Thomas Siga-Negby. And also a good friend of mine, I know he's in the audience, also from Bronx Community College, Eddie Bayadel, my good friend from the Haitian Round Table. Eddie. And we're so delighted that we're joined by Roscoe Brown's son, Dennis Brown, and his wife, Bernadette. And from Community Board 5, we have the District Manager, Kenneth Brown. And of course, the most beloved Borough Parks Commissioner in New York City, Iris Rodriguez Rosa. You know, I don't feel bad. She always gets more applause than everybody. I'm so glad I hired her. You know, one day I too want to be a borough commissioner. So we're here today not only to unveil this beautiful new plaza for the community, but to also rename it after truly a remarkable person, Dr. Roscoe Brown. When I was first asked to rename this plaza after Dr. Brown, it was clear that he was a very special member of this community. In fact, not long after he passed, the council member approached me again and again and again and said, "We have got to rename this plaza." And I said, "There is a waiting period." And he asked again and again and again. So I first want to thank the council member for his persistence, because he finally got his way. So council member, thank you for his assistance. In addition to serving in the U.S. Air Force 1st African American Squadron, the Tuskegee Airmen, Dr. Brown also served as Bronx Community College's president for many years. He was also an active figure in many organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Libraries for the Future, the National Park Service, and was also a founding member and president of 100 Black Men. We appreciate that. Roscoe Brown dedicated his life to service, education, and civil rights advocacy. And it is my honor to officially rename this plaza in his memory. Thanks to $2.9 million investment from Mayor Bill de Blasio, Borough President Diaz, and Councilmember Cabrera, this plaza now features new paths and new seating, new fencing, lighting, and landscape improvements, and a brand new ramp to increase site accessibility, and so much more. Now, before I introduce our speakers, I'd also like to give special thanks to our Capitol Park team who oversee this construction. There's Andrew Penzi and Sakai Brown is here from our Capitol Division. Always want to recognize our contractors because they do outstanding work. In this case, it was AAH Construction Corporation. Thank you so much to our contractors. We have our designers here, and I believe Nancy is here. Nancy Owen Studio, LLC. Thank you for this very tasteful and beautiful design, Nancy. And we also have Partnership for Parks, Linda Bonilla. Thank you so much. It is her team that helps establish Friends Group to care for this public space, not just here in the Bronx, but all over the city. So again, I'm honored to be here. Very shortly, we'll be unveiling the new name for this plaza, but it's now my honor to invite former Mayor David Dinkins to say a few words.
Good morning.
Morning.
When people ask, well, who was Roscoe Brown? I'll be very pleased to tell them He was a dear friend and quite a guy. And he was a Tuskegee Airman. And it is said that he was the first flying a jet to shoot down a German Messerschmitt. And he was quite a fella. He's a dear, dear friend. And I think he'd be pleased to see so many of you here this morning.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just informed. If you don't know, I ran my second consecutive marathon a couple of weeks ago. But I just was told, is this true, that Roscoe Brown ran 9 marathons? Oh, Lord, I got some work to do. Now it is my pleasure and delight to invite up to the podium your Bronx Borough President, Ruben Diaz, Jr.
Good morning, family. Good morning, family.
Good morning.
9 marathons. You ran 2, Commissioner. I can't even run around the block. I'm tired already. What a joyous day whenever you can start the day with a walking historic figure in our former mayor, Mayor Dinkins. Thank you, Mr. Dinkins, for all of your service. I want to be just like you when I grow up. Ladies and gentlemen, to Siga Negby, to Dr. Dennis Brown, to all of the family members, to our community board, to Councilman Cabrera for this initiative, Commissioner, the Bronx Commissioner Iris. This is, and I'm gonna stick with the spirit of the mayor and keep it short. We put funding into this as we do with so many different green spaces and public parks. That's the reason why Iris gets such strong applause. We've been fixing our parks and waterfronts like never before, so quickly thanks to the leadership of Commissioner Silva.
Thank you.
This plaza here is a great investment, not only because we want people to enjoy it, but this plaza here being named after Dr. Roscoe Brown. Think about what that means. Let's not trivialize that. I hope and I'm optimistic that every single person, whoever gets to enjoy these benches, who gets to come out here when the weather permits, perhaps to read a book, just to chat with a friend, takes at least one moment to think about what Dr. Roscoe Brown has meant, not only to the Bronx, not only to the city, but to the United States of America. And when you look at Hollywood and you look at all of these movies, the Avengers, and all of these heroes, let it be duly noted that here in the boogie down Bronx, we have a real, true American hero in Dr. Roscoe Brown. I remember when the Red Tails, the movie came out, it was the biopic on the Tuskegee Airmen. Roscoe Brown was with us where we brought in children. Ladies and gentlemen, bring your children here. Even if it's for a little pamphlet, a book, go on Google. Teach them because they need to know. While we've been being spoon-fed who our heroes should be, Dr. Roscoe Brown exemplified in every aspect. He served the country. He was an airman, 68 missions. He started institutions. He led institutions like Bronx Community College. He believed in education. And it would be a shame if we don't educate our future generation as to who he was and what he means to all of us and continues to mean to all of us. God bless you, God bless the Bronx, and God bless the legacy and the memory of Dr. Roscoe Brown.
So as I said earlier, one of the honors I have is to name or rename public spaces in Parkland. And of course, Councilmember Cabrera knew that. But I want to personally thank him for his persistence. He was very quick to understand the impact of Dr. Roscoe Brown and knew the importance of this space near Bronx Community College. So I want all of you to just give him a round of applause for bringing this to my attention. Thank you so much. I now invite up to the podium Fernando Cabrera, council member.
Thank you, Commissioner, and you continue to be my favorite of all commissioners in the city of New York because you get the job done. And I want to thank also as well our beloved Mayor Dinkins. I'm still fighting to have a bridge named after him. I got the legislation. I want to tell you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And also our borough president, who's been a champion for the Bronx. The Bronx has not been the same since he has been our borough president. He's putting the money where we have the needs in our borough. We've seen the transformation. Come on, let's give it up for our borough president. And of course, president of Bronx Community College, who has been a true partner in Bronx Community College, has truly excelled, and you have taken it to the next level. And our commissioner, Bronx commissioner, who, yes, indeed, she gets all of the big applause, and that's because she's so loving, she's so caring, she leads with her heart. And I also want to recognize former Commissioner Joe Ramos, who truly was a good friend, good friend of Dr. Roscoe Brown. Look, my grandfather fought in World War II, and I have to tell you, they were the greatest generation. They truly fought for what they believe. Dr. Roscoe Brown was not only a pilot, but he was a commander. That means he was responsible for those who he led. And his son, who I had the privilege of speaking with, and we're going to hear from him in a moment, when we were at City Hall and we were honoring Dr. Roscoe Brown, he said a line that has vibrated literally in my mind and in my heart, resonated. And that is, he asked him, every time you go up in the sky, weren't you scared? He said, I'm to prepare to be scared. I'm to prepare to be scared. And you know, he came back and he didn't forget the Bronx. He came and led Bronx Community College. 17 years he devoted his life to preparing our young people so they wouldn't be scared, because they will be too prepared to be scared for their future and to make a difference. And this is why I want to thank Commissioner. Thank you for expediting. Normally it takes 3 years, minimum 3 years after someone passed away to name a park after someone who duly deserves to be named, but you expedited the process. I honor you for that. And let's don't forget, immediately after we do the unveiling, we will be across the street, because we also will be co-naming this street Dr. Roscoe Brown. I want to thank my colleagues in the City Council because legislation was required to make it happen. Thank you so much. To the family, we want to let you know that your father, Dr. Roscoe Brown, was truly, if I go down the line, he was truly loved by the community. He was a hero. He will never, ever be forgotten. God bless you, and thank you so much.
We have two more speakers, but I too want to recognize a former colleague from Corrections Commissioner Joseph Ramos. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We have also with us the commanding officer from the 4-6 Precinct, Deputy Inspector Brea. Thank you so much for being here. And also want to recognize our Parks Enforcement Patrol that help keep our parks safe. Thank you for joining us with us today. We just had a graduating class for the incoming group from July, so you'll see them out, some 40 or some new PEP officers out on the street. So before we get to our last speaker, I would like to call up from Community Board 5 District Manager Kenneth Brown to say a few words.
Thank you very much. This is a profound honor Not only is this a significant event in my personal life, but it is a significant event in the life of this community. In the community board, the activation and the claiming and the ownership of beautiful spaces is what partnership between the community and government should be. The activation, the ownership of this space, I feel, is the confluence between the great people of the past, Dr. Brown, the great people of the present, and us. And how are we going to make the transition between our ancestors that have gone before, that have done great things? How are we going to keep their memory living so that we can bequest that to our children and ourselves? In this plaza, you literally, geographically, have the confluence of history. We are at the head, in a fashion, of Aqueduct Walk, which construction started almost 200 years ago next decade. So this is an opportunity, a physical space that celebrates the history of the Bronx, this community, and its connectedness, not only to history, but to geography. As part of celebrating the activation of this space in recognition and commemoration of Dr. Brown, the library right across the street has an exhibit on the Tuskegee Airmen, exhibiting and highlighting the contributions of Dr. Brown. So right here in this space, this is a center of how to make our history live and how we can take it up to progress it and carry it forward into the future. So this is a great day for our community, and thank you very much.
We are so honored to welcome the current president of Bronx Community College, Dr. Thomas Sekinegbe.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner, for your introduction, and thank you for making everything possible. I bring greetings on behalf of the faculty and staff of Bronx Community College. What a day. In fact, I was talking to the past commissioner. I really ordered this day. This is November 21 or 20th. Look at the beautiful weather here, and Roscoe Brown is looking down on us and wishing us very well. I am very sure of that. So what a very, very beautiful day. You know, if you come to look at the park that we're commissioning this morning and you look at the college across the street, I said earlier on to somebody, this is an extension really of our institution. I'm expecting this park to be an extension of Bronx Community College. I'm hoping that our students will cross the street, come down here to reflect and think about all of the great things that Dr. Brown did, not just for our college, for our borough, for our city, and for the country, and for the world. What a beautiful park. So on behalf of all of our students, I want to say thank you very, very much to all of you that made it possible. Councilman Cabrera, thank you. Park Commissioner, thank you very much. Our Borough President, thank you. And to Roscoe Brown's family, thank you for this day, really, for sharing him with us and for making this day possible. This is a wonderful addition to our borough, and I promise you, this will be a place of reflection for all of our students. Thank you very, very much.
So I spoke to Dr. Brown a few minutes before this ceremony started, and you can just see the glory and impact of the father transferred to another generation. In just our brief minutes together, I could just tell what a wonderful man he is, which reflects even better on his father. So please put your hands together as I invite up the son of Dr. Roscoe Brown, Dr. Dennis Brown.
Good morning, Bronx. Good morning. I said good morning, Bronx. Good morning. All right, I think Roscoe heard that. I just want to begin by thanking all that were involved in making this possible. One thing that I know Roscoe would love about this is that this is a collaboration of so many different agencies, Bronx community across the block, the borough president, city councilman Cabrera, police, everybody coming together. And we know how, if you've worked for the city, You know how hard it is to get everyone to do everything and be on the same page. Maybe that's why it took 3 years. So today is about legacy. They say that if your name is spoken by those who have never heard you speak, a connection is made between your past and their future, and your legacy moves forward. Now, just this past Saturday, on the 16th, there was a ceremony similar to this to name 135th and Lenox in Harlem Basil Patterson Way. I was working that day in the ED, and I planned to get out there for the ceremony at 1 o'clock. But it was a little busy that morning. Sometimes in Harlem, Uptown Saturday night happens on Saturday morning, if you know what I mean. And it continued, and it continued. So roughly around 2 o'clock, I broke away from the last critical patient. I dashed across the street, and I noticed that there was still a crowd there, but the crowd didn't seem the crowd that had come for the naming ceremony. They had cameras around their necks, and they were scanning the surroundings with their cell phones. I turned and I could see the tour buses by the Schomburg, and I knew that this was not the naming crowd because as I came upon them, I noticed they were speaking Japanese. The tour guide leader was pointing to this newly minted street sign that said Basil Patterson Way. And each of them started repeating his name, Basil Patterson, Basil Patterson. And I had brought with me a picture of Roscoe and Basil to show everyone at that ceremony. And if you notice, they both have their right fist in the air. This is the 1988 Democratic Convention. This was Jesse Jackson's time for the platform. And so I'm holding this picture, I'm looking at them. They're saying Basil Patterson with a Japanese accent. And then they start to Google up his name. And then they start nodding their head. So they spoke Basil Patterson's name, never having heard him speak, moving his legacy forward. Through that, through the mouths of strangers and Google, his legacy moved ahead. And so now we are here today at the base of the hill where Hall of Fame Terrace starts. What a perfect metaphor for climbing to higher ground, ascending to higher education, knowing at the top of that hill that Roscoe and I had run so many times in that Bronx Community 10K. That's the last 300 yards. That is true rough side climbing to get to the other side. And literally at the top of that hill are the gates to the college, the gates to higher education. And I heard if you really are good with what you do, they even got a Hall of Fame for you. So now, let's move his legacy forward. Let's go 25 years ahead. 25 years, it's 2045, and we're right here in this plaza. And sitting right here at this table is a working mother from Guatemala. America's finally discovered how to open up her arms to those from foreign shores who are seeking a better life. She sits here, she aspires to be an accountant. Over here is a young brother from southern Sudan who aspires to be a surgeon. And sitting on the bench back there is a young Latina from San Juan who aspires to, believe it or not, be a congressperson from the Bronx. Together they turn, they look at the sign, they see the name Roscoe Brown. In unison they say, Roscoe Brown, Roscoe Brown. They connect his past to their future. His past, World War II fighter pilot, Tuskegee Airman, pioneer of exercise physiology, human activist, educational researcher, college president. They now connect the legacy. the future. They say his name, Roscoe Brown. Now, at this point, I would normally say, on behalf of the family of Roscoe Brown, thank you, blah, blah, blah. But, Roscoe lived the last part of his life here in the Bronx, at least the last 30 years of his life in the Bronx. He took his last breath here in the Bronx. He was the Bronx. So today, everyone here is Roscoe Brown's Bronx family. And with that in mind, I have a message for you from Roscoe. He says, tell everybody in the family, thank you, and I'll meet you at the top of the hill. His legacy moves on.
We're about to officially unveil the sign and cut the ribbon. Before we do that, I invite up the Bronx Borough Commissioner, Iris Rodriguez Rosa.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días, familia. ¿Cómo están? Okay. And as Dr. Brown has stated, hoy es familia. Okay, so we say it in all different languages también, familia. And I want to say that his legacy lives on in each and every one of us. In all, we honor him in everything that we can do to better the life of all those here with us, especially. So thank you, Dr. Brown. I'd just like to be able to acknowledge, I can't go through all the names because I would be here also very long, but can you raise your hands, all the park employees, all the park staff that we have here, can you raise your hands? Maintenance and operations, we have my chief of staff, we have my office, each and every one of you that dedicate your time to being able to do things in our park system as well. And we want to, of course, thank NYPD because they're our sister agency and they help us also very much. Thank you ever so much. So I just want to say thank you. We want to maintain this plaza as beautiful as it is. So we always ask the community to be able to join us and help us to maintain this quality of life here that we have here. And for the students, of course, of Bronx Community College to enjoy. Thank you to our guest speakers. Thank you for being here today. Bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to first do the unveiling. We're going to move this podium. We want to make sure the mayor is close by as well to participate. So now we're going to first do the unveiling and then the ribbon cutting. All right, we're going to do this once the photographers are ready. All right, everybody count down with me from 3. Okay, wait. 3, 2, 1. There we go. This is now officially Captain Roscoe Brown, Ph.D. Plaza. Welcome, everyone.
Sorry. Want to slide it over a little bit? Let me sit down. Yeah, come on this side. Bounce it out. Yeah. How are you? All right, just open, but don't cut. All right, again on the count of 3 we're going to cut, and all you need to do is keep looking up what you got. Very easy. All right, 3, 2, 1. Dr. Roscoe Brown, P.H.D. Plaza is officially open. All right. Okay.